Yo, what's shaking YouTube nights? Welcome to the weekly comic shaker show over on Cover Price. We're gonna look at some books that shook on the aftermarket, but the boys are in the house. That's right. Look at Mark. Look at Chris. Super excited to be hanging out with you guys tonight. But while you're all getting comfortable, getting cozy, I hope you poured yourself a cold one. It's very important. So get a cold one, kick back, and let's see what we got on the ones and the twos.
1, 2, ready.
They're your boys, ain't they, Lando? They're where you're at, aren't they?
Oh, I saw the guy was wearing Toronto. I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
are they Canadian? I have no idea. But what I do know is that the music is fire. Tonight's list is fire. And the two gentlemen joining me tonight, of course, equally fire. So I'm excited to hang out. Let's go around the table before we kick off this amazing list. Because, guys, seriously, it's really awesome. I'm loving it. Let's kick it off with Chris, man. How you doing, brother?
What's up, man? I am excited to be here. It is Thursday, my favorite day of the week for lots of reasons, but mostly because I get to hang out with these fine two gentlemen and talk about some comics. Let's do this thing.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Marty, how you been, man?
Welcome, geeks and geekettes. Welcome, YouTubenites. Thank you for joining us as always. First of all, got to give a shout out to Luis Mendoza in the chat. It is his, I believe he said, 47th birthday today. So thank you for joining us on your birthday, brother. I know you're going to have a wonderful night. Enjoy yourself. Shout out to you, brother. Happy birthday. And we've got an interesting list for you guys tonight. This is going to be a fun list. It's going to be a fun show. I'd like to see some numbers out there in the chat. I don't know. If you have some of these bad boys, let us know, man, because there's some good books on here.
Yeah, see, Marty wants to make sure nobody ends up in the O for Abyss. I like the opposite. I want to take you all with me to the O for Abyss. But tonight's list is going to give you an opportunity because I think, you have the chance to not make the O for Abyss. There's some books there that I think some of us just might have within our collection. So we'll see. That being said, in order to see, we're going to have to dive into that list right now. So,
Hold on, Lando. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Alex dropped a $5 to us to say
I just
happy
saw
birthday.
that.
So
Just saw that.
Mendoza, happy birthday. Alex, thank you so much for making
Thank
sure
you, brother.
you had the proper attention.
Alex, good man's, man.
Yeah,
Good
buddy.
man.
And hey, we appreciate that. We really do.
Very
We
much
never
so.
see it.
Very much so.
We see it, but we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I mean, we don't get those very much since, our boys Tim has been gone and stuff like that. But then on Tuesdays, when you jump onto the girls show on Tuesdays, man, they're
getting
with like
$50.
it's like
Yeah.
they're throwing the dollar bills out there.
We're doing
I think I
something
may
wrong.
need to wear a lower cut shirt in order for us to get more tips like that.
I'm wearing
Maybe
white.
so,
I'm wearing
man.
white.
Maybe.
Hold on.
Pull it down, brother. Look
Ah,
at that.
There you go.
Hey,
there
it's
you go.
raining.
Yeah, but shout out to Alex. Alex is a gem within the community. Very supportive. He's very supportive across all channels. So I appreciate you, Alex, for the $5, and of course to Louise again. Happy birthday! Wishing you all the best. Thank you for rocking with us tonight while we take you through the Shakers list. So that being said, let's kick off the list. Now, guys, this amazing list comes from our friends over at Cover Price, focusing on new high sales or the most interesting sales found on their exclusive daily Shaker list. The list changes several times every day, so make sure to check it every day to review some of the hottest trending books in the market. Now, to kick it off, Mr. Dr. Yo-Yo, show us what's Shaker number 1.
Shaker number 1, this is going to be your entry into the Oprah list tonight because my goodness, is this book a ghost. So we got Amazing Spider-Man number 546, but this is not the direct edition 546, which you might have. This is the Steve McNiven cover, the book market exclusive, not for resale. In Spider-Man No Way Home, in the film, if it was a blink and you'll miss it shot of the Feast delivery truck, made that little Feast delivery truck led many to the speculation that Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, exists within the MCU. While he had a cameo in Amazing Spider-Man FCBD Swing Shift 2007, his first full appearance as both Martin Lee and Mr. Negative, along with the Feast's debut, is in this issue. This Easter egg helped drive a Raw sale to $451. That's for a Raw. While one of the 6 9.8s that exist sold for around $900 in 2018. With Spider-Man 4 adopting the Brand New Day tagline and speculation around Jackpot and Mr. Negative, demand has surged again. A CGC 9.4 copy, the first graded sale in 3 years, just hit an all-time high of $699, and the 1 in 100 variant recently sold for $137 raw. And that 1 in 100 variant, it is a black and white. It is gorgeous. The origins of this book market variant, though, remain a bit unclear. It was distributed at the ALA conferences and the book trade shows like BEA and BookCon, etc., targeting librarians and educators rather than small comic shops. Think Scholastic books. While some have surfaced at conventions and giveaways, there's no evidence that this was directly sold to comic book stores or to collectors. Despite its rarity, copies sometimes do pop up. CGC currently lists 32 book market variants on the census, with a renewed speculation and confirmed actors like Sadie Sink joining Spider-Man 4. Interest in this book will continue to spider-climb.
Hell yeah. I love this.
I have this book, but not this variant, not the book market. The regular cover is it's the same cover. It's the same what you see right there.
Yeah.
You know, but so the rarity is not so much the book itself, but the variant itself.
So I mean, my kids are, when my kids were elementary school age, they would do book fairs. And I remember going with them to the book fairs, and I would see comic books at the book fairs with the Marvel signs on them, and they looked exactly like the Marvel releases, only they had a Scholastic logo in the lower left-hand corner. And I always wondered if those would be good pickups, because it's about it's like $1 or $2 more than the regular cover price. But some of these low print run variants that, you know, were not targeted towards collectors, they were targeted towards kids and probably didn't stay in very good condition. I got to wonder about that. So it's a comic, right? It is definitely a comic. You open it up, it looks like a comic, smells like a comic, gives you that brand new comic Wednesday morning feeling. But it is not something you can get on the newsstand, at Barnes & Noble, or at the comic book store. You could only get this at a book convention.
Yeah, and just to clarify, because I saw a comment in the chat regarding the book, but Cover Price confirming it's a standard floppy comic that just has book market variant in the red box, as you can see over there at the top left. Now, it's amazing to see this because, of course, a lot of love coming towards Amazing Spider-Man 546, simply because we've got the title of the next Spider-Man film being Brand New Day, and ironically, that's what's written on this book. So, of course, many people flock to this. Now, there's always been rumors about Mr. Negative being within the film as well. And, you know, I guess people are feeling a little more like that's going to take place simply because. But if that would happen, I think it would be amazing. I do question the timelines because, you know, the movie coming out after Doomsday. Will we see Peter Parker within Doomsday? That's to be determined. But I will say Mr. Negative is an awesome villain. A very, very fun character within the Spider-Man video game. If you guys played it on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, lots of love for that character. And I think, with the title of the film, it makes sense that people came to this. And I had no idea that this variant existed, which is pretty cool.
Here's the thing. Around this time frame, the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2. This is part of the ASM Volume 2, okay? And around this time frame where you see the 400, 500, so it was so many variants that came out. And if you're a completist, you will have a field day trying to get a hold of so many of these different variants, man. And I just say good luck. This is probably one of the variants that were, of course, the book market variant. But besides this being on the list, of course, I mean, I can see more of these titles like this, the other variants, Spider-Man variants, coming up eventually. But me personally, there's no way. If you look at how many variants are out there for this run, it's just almost impossible to get every variant out of this series.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those where if you can pick one up, I mean, because I think the regular cover is still under $20. If you can pick one up, go ahead and grab it. But I don't know about really specking on Mr. Negative. I mean, Mr. Negative is a good villain, but he's not like an iconic villain like Green Goblin, right? Or Kingpin. And kind of that old adage that we've talked about a few times where you probably shouldn't be buying villain first appearances unless they are major villains. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think this is a safe book to go after, though, the regular one, because you'd have to be pretty diehard to go after these $800 or $900 exclusives like this.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the whole villains thing because ironically, I collect as many villains as I can. I do the opposite of what Chris is saying, but I do pick them up when they're on the low. Of course, now with such buzz surrounding Mr. Negative, we're seeing such sales. And this one being a very interesting book, guys. Amazing Spider-Man, issue 546. Steve McNiven. Book Market by Marvel in 2008 had a top sale for a CGC 9.4 at $699. Marty, let's look at this beauty together for Shaker number 2.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Shaker number 2 brings you Black Widow number 1. This is the Daniel Acuna 2010 San Diego Comic-Con variant, published by Marvel in 2010. Black Widow has been a staple in both the Avengers comics as well as Marvel comics for decades. She has had numerous solo titles as well as being part of multiple team titles over the years. With all of her storylines and adventures, though, it wasn't until Scarlett Johansson played Natasha Romanoff on the big screen that found her fandom began to really emerge. Since her debut in Iron Man 2, Natasha, aka Black Widow, has been an integral part of the MCU and the Avengers. She has become a household name, and it is virtually impossible to go to a moderately sized Comic-Con without seeing a handful of cosplayers dressed as some version of Black Widow. Since 2010, her comics also experienced a bit of a boost. From her first appearance, hard-to-find variants like this one, and important Black Widow keys have seen a rise in prices and collectability. Another Black Widow variant that has become tougher to find cheap is the 2010 San Diego Comic-Con variant by Daniel Acuna. This book is a sketch version of Cover A and was very limited and has seemed to go up without each sale. This past week, a new all-time high was set when a raw near mint copy sold for $200. This sale is $15 higher than the previous high set in January of 2024 when a CGC 9.6 sold for $185.
Not too shabby. Now, before we talk a little further about the book, I have to shout out to JSS Brooklyn. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there was a super chat given. So thank you, JSS Brooklyn, for the 1999. That is amazing.
Jesus, man. Thank you, JSS, man. Wow.
so much, JSS. That's awesome.
Dude,
JSS
that's
is
amazing,
local
man.
to me. I still owe him meeting him in the big city for lunch. So JSS, we will get on that. I just need to figure out when.
And now, Chris, you can pay for lunch now, brother.
There you go. Yeah, JSS.
There you go.
Let me know if you're coming to AwesomeCon. Okay, you got my private deets. Let me know if you're coming to AwesomeCon. We'll sync up.
Yeah, JSS is another gem, man. Somebody I enjoy talking to all the time in DMs. So thank you so much, JSS. You really didn't have to, but you did it anyways, and we appreciate you. So thank you
Very
so
much
much.
so.
Now, let's get to the book very quickly because the book is stunning. I think Acuna did a phenomenal job. This is a San Diego Comic-Con variant, 2010, guys, and like Acuna crushed this cover.
I love it.
What you were just saying, Marty, is facts. Don't get me wrong. Like with the Avengers films and everything, Black Widow really came to the forefront. Not many people had Black Widow as a household name. You know what I mean? But now Black Widow, once we got the Avengers and everything MCU related, Scarlett Johansson really brought this character to life in such a good way. Tragic ending, unfortunately. I would love to see her come back, right? I mean, Scarlett Jo. But yeah, this cover, I love this one.
Absolutely, 100% agree, man. He knocked that out of the park, and I'm a sucker for these type of covers. And I spoke in the past the use of all white and background, and then on top of that the color over the black and white. I really love what he did with this. So what a great!
I really like the double black details. Like when you look at the silhouettes of the buildings behind, right?
Yeah,
you can see the flags on the forefront of the silhouettes are a darker black than the buildings.
Yeah,
I really like those kinds of details, and I haven't seen this in real life. I wonder if that part of the cover is a little glossy because it kind of gives that impression.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's really nice. But guys, at Shaker number 2, we have Black Widow number 1, the Daniel Acuna 2010 San Diego Comic-Con variant by Marvel. Of course, in 2010, as I just said, top sale, run your mint, $200. Chris, what do we got up next?
Here we have a comic where the reflection doesn't reflect the reality.
Oh.
Nice.
Shaker number 3 is Blue Beetle number 54 by Fox Comics in 1948. For its time, the cover of Blue Beetle 54 must have sent shockwaves through the adolescent minds when they saw it on the shelves of their local comic newsstands. The cover art represents the epitome of what a headlight cover is considered to be. Or, Lando, what do we call it? The
breast cover of the night.
We see a woman standing in high heels in front of a mirror wearing lacy underwear and taking her top off. Her bare back is exposed to the reader with her bra facing us in the mirror. For some reason, the bra strap is not on her in reality. No doubt this cover was talked about in the schoolyards by young comic book readers and probably hid away under mattresses. It is so controversial that it was referenced and pictured in the infamous Seduction of the Innocent by Frederick Wortham. One of the many sought-after Seduction of the Innocent covers, it is no surprise to see this book go up in value every time it comes to market. This past week, we saw a CGC 4, reach an astounding $5,760. For context, 2 months ago, a CGC 4.5 only sold for $5,000 even. So they were talking about a grade down and a price bump. And that's only in a few months.
That's wild. This is wild.
There's some historical stuff going on right here, man.
Yeah. So the schoolyard thing, I could imagine for sure. 1948. You didn't have much option back then, right? But yeah, this is the strap thing is kind of confusing me. I will say. Now that you pointed it out, I didn't even notice before. I was so focused somewhere else.
That's the first thing that I noticed. It was the first thing that I noticed.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if do they mean to do that? Is that supposed to be kind of like an optical illusion kind of a thing, or I don't know. I mean, because you got one side of the mirror and the other, you have another side of the mirror. So, you know.
The other thing that I notice is that the reflection side of the mirror seems to go above the art of the mirror itself. Like it's extending out of the frame, which is also kind of weird. But that guy with the tiny knife, I don't think it's what he wants to do. And I think I understand why Blue Beetle mug is such a smiley, placid expression.
I've got so many jokes I want to say, but it's really inappropriate, so I won't do
And
that.
very inappropriate then.
Very, very inappropriate, but I won't do that. In fact, I'm just going to focus on the fact that Blue Beetle, issue 54, by Fox in 1948 had a top sale for a CGC 4.0 at $5,760.
Now, hold on, Lando. C. Chavez said that his intentions are clearly not good. I disagree. Clearly, she's in a shopping mall and he's a salesperson and she is tangled up in her top and begging for help, and he is there to cut her free.
Yeah, that's
the hero of the story.
That's exactly what's going on. But anyways, Marty, take us to shaker number 4.
Hey. All right. This is when you guys cue up the Happy Day song right now.
I would love to, but I don't want to get copyright strike.
Damn it. You know what that means? Marty Oki's gonna have to sing.
Yes, do it. Marty Oki.
Okay. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday.
Happy days. Wednesday, Thursday, happy days.
That's it. Do you guys remember that? I mean, yeah. This was I grew up watching the reruns on this bad boy. So now we have number 4 shaker, Happy Days #1 gold key variants, published by Western in 1979. Sometimes you forget that there really was a comic book made for everything, and then you come across the Happy Days comic that just so happens to be someone's grail, which I guess makes sense, right? Who would balk at the first comic appearance and first cover appearance of the Fonz? Sounds like a major key to me. Although the show this book is based on was immensely popular, there was still considered a bit of an oddball idea at the time and only received a very limited print run. This gold key variant is basically the first printing of the book, so it's much more valuable than the reprinted Whitman variant. Minty copies of this book are incredibly hard to find, and with Henry Winkler still kicking, there still exists a possibility of getting this book signed at some point. As far as I can tell, there's nothing brewing in terms of a reboot or revival of the property, so this new huge sale of $600 for CGC 9.8 that almost doubles the previous high sale from 5 months ago probably went to a collector who wanted to make sure they could add to their collection. Add it to their collection, while they still have the chance to even find one. Now, this is this is from back in the days, man. I still have a few gold key comic books laying around. So these are very, very old publishing and things like that. And back in the day, this is something I grew up to, watching Happy Days on reruns, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think this is cool. I'm glad that someone that really loved Happy Days could get his grail.
Yeah,
I find it interesting that we're talking about a 1979 gold key book, which the 70s and 80s gold key books were notoriously poor quality. This is a 9.8, okay, 9.8, and 1979. I know this because I'm a geek, but the Jump the Shark episode of Happy Days happened in 1977, and that's when the fan base really dropped off. If you don't know what I'm talking about in the chat, the Fonz, it literally is wearing a leather jacket while water skiing and jumps over a shark, like a literal shark, and that's where the term Jump the Shark comes from. That happened in 1977. This came out in 1979. Now, in 1977, when the Jump the Shark thing happened, a lot of people went, you know what, this show's just a little bit too wacky for me, and they stopped watching. So this is after that, which means that the sales on this were probably not that good, because you are outside the heyday of Happy Days.
Yeah, dude.
There
Look,
you go. Very good. Very good information right there, Chris. Really good. Did not know that.
yeah, I obviously grew up watching the reruns, and my parents made me watch this a million times, and happily, I really, I enjoyed this, dude. The Fonz is my stereotype right there, right? Like leather jacket, slick hair, hey. But
Right.
it was obviously some stuff I love going back to watch every now and then as well. Now the Fonz seems to be the character that everybody cares most about when it comes to Happy Days. But Henry Winkler, sorry, like movie wise, there's so many other cool movies that I enjoy watching him in. A lot of those Adam Sandler ones, like the Waterboy, dude, Waterboy, he cracks me up in that movie. Click, don't mess with Zohan. So I like going back to seeing that. Anytime I see Henry Winkler, it's always, you're in for a good time, man. So I like this, but yeah. Happy Days, #1 gold key variant by Western in 1979 had a top sale for a CGC 9.8 at $600. Chris, what do we got up next?
Well, before I jump into number 5, we are halfway through the Shaker report, and you know what that means. You know I'm going to bug you about something. Why do you keep denying me on this? I mean, it's just a simple thing, really. All you got to do is click that bell icon so you know when this channel goes live. And go down to the comic section. Tell me the best comic of the night. Tell me your favorite thing about the show, or leave a complaint so I can soundly ignore it. But please just go in there and put something in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit the down button if you want. Just hit a button. Hit those buttons on the YouTube. That's what we need you to do. And if you're feeling generous, subscribe. That is what I'm asking for, please. And now let's talk about some Game of Thrones stuff. Here we have The Hedge Knight. And this is a no number. It was a one-shot. It was by Image Comics. It's the Dunk 2003 convention variant. And it was limited to 1,500 copies. Some of you may remember the craze that was around Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones became a cultural juggernaut and one of the last intellectual properties to truly reach all corners of the social world. It was you had to be there to experience it kind of thing, with monumental episodes like The Red Wedding. But that doesn't mean that George R. Martin and the HBO fans are not trying to HBO are not trying to bring back fans. We got the prequel series based on another written work from George R. R. Martin, The Song of Ice and Fire. And it just finished its second season with another prequel set to debut later this year in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Based around Sir Duncan the Tall, fans first got introduced to the character way back in 1998 when Martin released his novella. The story started beginning traction, aided by a comic adaptation that began right here back in 2003. Keep in mind, Game of Thrones did not explode popularity until 2011, when this series was bundled into a trade paperback to coincide with the release of the TV series. It is a relatively unknown book, but it does mark the first appearance of Dunk and Egg, the two titular characters for the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms series. Marked as a convention exclusive, this book was limited to 1,500 copies. Most of them likely ended up in the dollar bins across the country. Now, 30 years later, we get to see a character come to life on the big screen. And that has caused an explosion in the fan interest and the opportunity for fans to revisit hard-to-find books like this. To acquire this gem, though, you will have to hand over a bag of dragnuts or change. Recently, one of 3 9.8 CGC copies hit the market and set a new record of $700. Previously, this book had topped out at $200 last year and failed to top the market. But earlier, a 9.6 sold for $225. Raw copies are even harder to come by, if you can believe it, with few ever-changing hands. And even when they do, quality is a major factor, leading to the prices that are all over the map. This is a tough to find book. And those that do expect to pay the premium as HBO ramps up the advertising machine to get this small corner of Westeros in front of more eyes.
I mean, impressive sale. I've never seen this book. Yeah. Whatsoever.
Very beautiful cover, man. And I'm curious to know if anybody has not seen any of this
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah,
Marty, I have not, and I'm gonna be that oddball. I'm gonna be the oddball because I had a bad experience with Game of Thrones. I apparently ruined it for myself. What ended up happening was everybody at work was telling me, "Yo, you gotta watch Game of Thrones, dude." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I will." Like, honestly, I just never had time on a Sunday. And then that one time that I had the opportunity to watch Game of Thrones, I was scrolling through the channels and I see it's there, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, HBO, Game of Thrones. Let's see what everyone's talking about." The one episode I watched, the first ever episode I watched, was the Red Wedding. And it kind of ruined it. I was like, I showed up to work the next day. I'm like, "Hey guys, like, what was that? Everybody like died. Is this like the last show?" And they're like, "No, you finally watched it, and that's what you watched." So yeah, that's
dude. Definitely. I don't think you ruined it for yourself though, man. Go back to the first episode, first season. And start from there, man, and you'll kind of get it. But it's a very good story. It's a good experience. I would definitely take some time to binge watch that bad thing, man. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely got to go back to watch it. But the book itself, I mean, this is a really neat cover. I have no idea what's a Dunk convention. 2003. Any idea? Anybody?
I'm gonna look it up real fast
because I've genuinely never heard of it.
I think I don't know. The only thing I can find are sneaker cons.
Okay,
sneaker cons. That's cool. Well, no idea, to be honest. So I would definitely like to do some homework on that one. But for the Game of Thrones fans, and of course. For such a variant, the Hedge Knight. Dunk 2003 convention variant, limited to 1,500 copies by Image in 2003, had a top sale for a CGC 9.8 at $700. Marty, show us what we got next.
Number 6 Shaker brings you Monster High Pride 2024, number 1, Sally Gottfried, cover B, IDW 2024. Monster High dolls were created by Garrick Sander and released by Mattel in 2010. The dolls were inspired by classic horror movie monsters, myths, and folklore, featuring characters like Draculaura, Dracula's daughter, Frankie Stein, Frankenstein's descendant, and Claudine Wolf, a werewolf. IDW's comics expanded on the characters and their adventures beyond what was shown in the animated series and dolls. The stories typically revolved around the students at Monster High navigating school life, friendships, and sometimes spooky mysteries. After a brief discontinuation in 2018, the brand was rebooted in 2022 with new dolls, media, and updated character designs. This issue highlights characters that are LGBTQ+. Monster High's emphasis on inclusive oh man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, inclusive.
Herb Ervlinger, Bert Herngreif, Irv Hermlinger, Bing Livehanger, Livelink, Bert Herkern, Bingo Ling Fucker.
I love Ling inclusivity, embracing one's freaking flaws and creating a diverse, accepting world has made it a beloved brand without the LGBTQ plus community. There have been a few different series from IDW featuring the characters, but this was a special one-shot with a relatively new artist who is a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Recently, an upgraded near mint copy sold for $60. Man, I just can't. I just could not just like when I get to those and Sorry, guys. But you know what? It's never a show unless someone gets bingo-langed, right?
Of course, man, and it's
Yeah.
I love it because it gives us enough time to like recuperate and just come back and try it again. That's what's good about this. But thank you to everybody in the chat who was clarifying the whole Dunk convention thing. See, apparently Duncan was the character. I have no information whatsoever when it comes to Game of Thrones. As I said, I kind of spoiled my own party by watching the Red Wedding as the first episode. So thank you all for that. But Monster
It must have been like a Game of Thrones convention, something like that.
Probably, but Monster High Pride 2024 #1. This is one that like I didn't even know came out. I had no acknowledgement of, and it seems pretty interesting with what you were just saying, Marty.
Yeah. I mean, this is. I remember when Monster High was first originally came out, and the popularity of this. But this is interesting that how they just readapt it and kind of added new characters to meet the social climate of the time, right? If you would say that, yeah.
Hey, there's a comic for everyone. Comics are for everyone.
Correct.
So.
Yes.
Amen. Well said. Well said. But guys, Monster High Pride 2024 issue #1, the Sally Godfried cover B by IDW in 2004 had a top sale for a raw near mint at $60. Now, Chris, this one is very impressive. Talk to us.
Yeah, this is Profane #4, the 1 in 20 Virgin variant. I think it's pronounced Suspiria.
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 This is by Boom Studios. It came out last year. We have been captivated by this stunning cover ever since it debuted in our Day After Wednesday show in September of 2024. Oh, by the way, you will know when that show happens if you hit that bell icon. However, just a month later, the excitement turned to a frenzy when the artist Suspiria. I'm gonna get it right. Suspiria announced it was completely sold out. After that, there was silence. No more copies could be found anywhere. So Cover Price reached out to Boom Studios regarding the rarity of this book and confirmed it is a very, very low print run because not many shops opted for the incentive. Just a few months later, the unexpected listing for a raw copy was priced at $1,200. It was up for a few days on eBay in January, and it raised eyes across the board. But the listing was pulled before a sale could be made. Once again, silence followed as no other copies were listed for a long, long time, and everybody was watching to see if anyone would take the bait. Skip ahead to today, and one of those lucky few who managed to snag a copy received their results back, and a 9.8 listing slipped through at $1,500. Of course, this was a quickly sold through a best offer agreement, and that best offer was $900, making this an unprecedented all-time high sale. Congratulations to Boom Studios for making this one of the most standout successes among independent books this year. By the way, Cover Price gave this comic away last October during the Cyber Monday live stream. And you would know about that if you were subscribed to this channel.
Shameless plugs, and they're fantastic. Fantastic. But guys,
he's on a roll tonight with that, man.
He is.
Yeah.
Dude, Suspiria is just a wonderful artist. This cover is stunning. As you said, Cover Price even gave a copy of this away. And dude, I don't know if you saw the other cover that Suspiria just recently did. It was for the Penthouse Comics. Here, I'll show you guys very quickly. Hold on, let me just take this down. It's gonna take me just 1 second. Hang tight, guys. Hang tight. But yeah, this one. Absolutely love this. I had to pre-order this, in which I did, because I love Suspiria's art. I love the work that she does. It's amazing. And this particular cover, my goodness, who would have saw this? Like, I not many shops obviously shooting high for that 1 in 20. So there's not many copies out there. and it's just incredible.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely beautiful cover, man. I have an absolutely love for all her artwork, and I'm glad you showed me that Penthouse cover, man. That is wow. She did knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yep.
I think the most interesting thing to me here is it's a 1 in 20, and it's sold for $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
We're
And
not
again,
talking about a 1 in 100. We're not talking about a limited to 200 copies or anything like that. We're talking about a 1 in 20.
Mm-hmm.
That is nuts.
Yeah, but a 1 in 20 that not many shops went out for, and they were not ordering 20 copies, which makes a lot of sense. So I'd love to know what the exact print was. I think, Cover Price did their part in trying to find out the exact. But CGC Census would be another thing. I don't imagine there's many copies of this. So that being said, as you just said within the read, Profane issue number 4, the Suspiria variant, 1 in 20 by Boom Studios in 2024, had a top sale for a CGC 9.8 at $900, and it's going to be very interesting to see where else this book ends up. But here's another fun book that makes the list tonight. Marty, show us what we got.
Yeah, number 8, Shaker brings you Secret Wars number 1. This is the Ed McGuinness 4-color Grail Stan Lee Collectibles black and white cover, published by Marvel in 2015. One of the more notable events in Marvel continuity, Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars number 1, 2015, introduced fans to a cameo of God Emperor Doom, a supremely powerful version of Victor Von Doom. With numerous leaks supporting the version of Doom, the MCU is clearly delving into multiverse incursion, and books from this run are gaining traction. This week, a 4-color Grails exclusive sketch variant featuring Ed McGuinness's artwork of Spider-Man alongside Stan Lee hit an all-time high sale of $99, up from its previous $55 record. Beyond featuring Stan Lee and marking the first cameo of God Emperor Doom, this book is now even harder to find due to closure of the 4-color Grails. Launched in early 2023 as subscription box specializing in exclusive low print run variants, 4-color Grails produce far fewer copies than larger services like Loot Crate. At just $27 per box, their books were highly flippable, often selling for more than subscription price. However, the company struggled financially and shut down after only 6 months, refunding remaining orders before ceasing operation in August. Now, with their exclusives permanently out of circulation, this variant, alongside its standard colors and color fade versions, is set to become an even tougher aftermarket find. Yeah, man, I remember those companies, man. I actually subscribed to one of them. They're coming out a lot around during that time, and you would have these different exclusives by different companies, and so yeah, this is interesting to see. But I mean, once again, it's people collecting different type of variety of things, I guess, so this is a different niche for me.
Yeah,
it seemed like for a little while all the rage were subscription boxes.
Yep.
And you especially saw it during the pandemic, but this was back in 2014 2015 time frame. So I mean, subscription boxes were I remember there was like a Magic the Gathering subscription box. There were that's kind of when these clothing subscription boxes started to get popular also, and stuff like that. And I know that since then there have been a couple comic subscription boxes that have come out. But the story of 4-color Grails is kind of interesting because if I remembered correctly, they were pretty affordable. I mean, it was like, you got a couple books for $30, less than $30 a month, which included shipping most of the time, and most of the time, just one book in that box was worth more than what you paid for the month. And
Yep.
I don't know.
They would add these little pins too, like and sometimes you'll get a shirt with it, depending on who you subscribe to. Yeah.
But I remember this though. I remember 4-Color going out of business and it being a really big deal because a lot of people had prepaid for the year, and they just lost out on all of the boxes that never came through. And there were a lot of really upset fans out there. So I think it's interesting to see these small print exclusives like this getting attention right now. It's kind of a know the news and be wary kind of situation, so that you don't fall into the folly of past history. But sometimes,
and I too, Chris, though, it was, I think a lot of these people got in way over their hype. They really just, there were so many people doing the same thing, and so there was a lot of, even Hastings closed down around that time frame too, and I remember getting a lot of my comic books from there. But so it's just, I don't know, that's how I see it,
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, 4-Color Grails was a company based up here in Canada, and
oh really?
Yeah, it was a very short stint, but as Chris was saying, you were getting exclusives that were probably worth more than the actual box itself. Now, of course, these gimmicks, whether you're for them or against them, it was pretty popular, and a lot of people enjoyed this. And here's one variant, as you could see, that did relatively well, especially now in the aftermarket with all the news surrounding Doomsday, Secret Wars, and you've got a nice little Stan Lee appearance here on this cover. So it's pretty neat. But Secret Wars #1, guys, Ed McGuinness, 4-Color Grails, Stanley Collectibles. It is a black and white by Marvel in 2015. Had a top sale for a raw near mint at $99. Chris, we're getting close to the end. What do we got at number 9?
Here we have Teenage Romances #38 by St. John Publishing back in 1954. Take a look at this cover. If you are watching this show on a like a phone or a tablet and you can't make out what that says, the girl is saying, "There's no room back here, Mac. Go curl up in the front seat and keep the headlights on." And Mac, not quite so much the gentleman that he appears to be, is saying, "But we're stalled out here for the night, so let's make the best of it." Guarantee you that Mac pulled the choke next to his gear shift and stalled out on purpose. Matt Baker continues to be one of the most sought after pre and post Comic Code Authority comic book artists. He is widely considered to be one of the most talented artists of his era, especially when it comes to his good girl art. His contributions to various titles that showcase his ability to draw the female form with his pinup style, for which he drew comic book heroines, captured the mind and attention of generations of teenage boy comic book fans. His talents can be found on the covers of Golden Age comic book titles to include The Phantom Lady, Cinderella Love, Diary Secrets, and Teenage Romances. Perhaps one of his most controversial covers is Teenage Romances #38, which depicts the scene of Mac trying to make his Mac move on his date in the back seat of his car, all exclaiming, "But come on, babe, we're already here." She is not amused. This week, we saw a record high sale of a CGC 7.5 copy hitting $7,500. This copy represents the second highest grade on the census, a CGC 8.0 being the highest. As a side note, Matt Baker books have steadily rose in value, and they continue to do so. Many are lesser known, and reasonable priced Baker covers are out there for those who are interested in trying to find affordable copies. I'll tell you, it can be definitely worth the work. Happy hunting. Now, I always pick up the romance books that are 1960s and prior when I find them in long boxes, because you can find some pretty expensive books in there. This is one example. There is the Crying Girl one, which is another example. These books are worth quite a bit, and not many people were keeping them in good condition. They were kind of tabloidish, trashy novel stories that nobody really cared to keep them in good condition, like I'm saying.
Yeah. The Mac Daddy makes the list, but Marty, what do you think of this one?
Man, this is what a beautiful cover, man. Classic cover. Goes all the way. This is some historical art alongside with many other of his of around his time. You're looking at 1954, around that time frame. They wore suits, and the young men wore suits, right? Mm-hmm. And that's just the way they dressed then. So it's very interesting how the culture is represented and how society, I guess, viewed this type of interactions between each other. Man and boy and girl, I guess you would say. Teenage romances, big during this time. Chris is right. If you see them, pick them up. They definitely go for a pretty good premium. So I really like this. This is really good to see.
Yeah, that tie is way too small, by the way.
Yeah, it's falling a little short there, buddy.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys,
Daddy.
Yeah, Mac Daddy. Teenage Romances, issue 38 by St. John in 1954, had a top sale for a CGC 7.5 at $7,500. Now, before we get to the last book, I want to remind everybody it doesn't end here. We're going to check out some of the daily shakers over on the Cover Price website, so stick around for that because there's always some other amazing sales to discuss. So, that being said, Marty, take us home with the official list.
Man, this is really up my alley. I love this type of book. I love this age, 1973, this time frame over here. Came out with some amazing books, amazing artists. But the last read of the night, number 10, brings you Vampire Tales number 2, published by Marvel in 1973. Vampire Tales was part of a Marvel Comics magazine line that included Dracula Lives, Monsters Unleashed, and Tales of the Zombie. Vampire Tales ran for 11 issues and featured Morbius the Living Vampire. It evaded the Comics Code Authority because it was in a magazine format, which allowed them to publish more adult content.
Oh.
Issue number 2 features the first appearance of Satana, the Devil's daughter and sister of Damon Hellstrom. As the half-human children of Satan, both Satana and Damon were born with supernatural abilities. Although she was killed off in 1979, she was resurrected in 1994 for Warren Ellis, Hellstorm's Prince of Lies, and would go on to be the cast in Thunderbolts and Dark Avengers. A near mint raw copy of her first appearance recently sold for $248. But this book brought an all-time high as a graded 9.8 sold for $3,360. This should come on as no surprise, as there are 346 universal graded copies on the census, with only 13 being graded in 9.8. There may not have been magazines that published 1970s, but the collectors are taking notice, causing these high-grade key issues to soar in value. Can you guys hear that in the background?
Yeah, man. Who's at the front door? The Amazon guy's gonna run away, bro.
Yeah, someone just came to the door. I'm gonna mute until this is done. Okay.
Obviously, Marty's getting some pizza delivered. Didn't invite us.
He doesn't want to tell us.
Orlando, I mean, come on, what's up with that?
I know.
Actually, it's Chinese, Chinese food tonight, man. So I get some fried rice here.
Sick invite,
Red
dude.
orange chicken. Go for
Sick
it.
invite. Extra MSG, of course.
Yes.
These are another book that you pick up if you see them for cheap. Any of these old magazine format ones, with the exception of Conan. I mean, Conan ones aren't really worth very much. A few of them are, but anything else, Vampire Tales, Vampirilla, Creepy, all those, grab them because they're worth more than $1, and they can sometimes be really hard to find.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? These covers are just absolutely amazing. As you said, hard to find. I like the idea and the fact that they went to the magazine route just to bypass the authority, right? So that's pretty cool. I actually didn't know that was the reason for the magazine. So pretty interesting to see there. But yeah, man, it looks like Marty's got the dogs under control.
I should be good now. I'm okay.
There you go. So Marty's back. But guys, to wrap up the list, we had Vampire Tales, issue number 2 by Marvel back in 1973 with a top sale for a CGC 9.8 at $3,360. Now, yes, that ends the list, and I guess I took a majority of you into the Ultra Abyss with me. So yes, let's get comfortable here, but hang tight because maybe there's somewhere else that we can make the list together, and that's going to be on the Daily Shaker report over on the Cover Price website. Do we want the cheesy song or not? Do we do it?
Of course.
There you go. Let's go.
Shake it now, feel the beat, move it, shake it loud, on repeat, yeah, party started, never stop, shake it like nobody's watching, rock the top, shake it on the floor, it's the shaker repose, feel the vibe and let it transpose, shake till you drop, hands in the air, the shaker repose, party everywhere.
What a vibe. What a vibe.
Man, I like that jingle, man. I love that jingle.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. But all right, Chris, take us into the Daily Shaker.
Okay. Cover Price. These are our sponsors for the show. And this is where we get the metrics from, by the way. The Daily Shakers report. Now, this report is updated multiple times a day. It is one of my favorite things to go in and check because you get to see these badass covers of very expensive comics like this House of Secrets right here, which is a human melting ice cream cone being held by a skeleton.
Love
Wild. Why? Well, like, how did they even think of these things?
I got to be acid.
Probably.
Just lots and lots of acid.
1970s, man. So during MK Ultra was going on, LSD testing was going on.
This is the highest sale recorded for a 9. It's a what? A 9.8 or a 9.0?
A 9 CGC 9.8. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
Drugs are bad.
All right.
Hey, you're killing me, brother.
I told you this would start going back up. Look at this, $4,000 for Ultimate Fallout number 4. I know it's the 1 in 25, but the closer we get to this new movie, the more you're going to see it pop up.
Now, hold on. It's at what, 4,000? Okay, it's
496.
I have a raw copy of that, man. Click on that real quick. I like. What's the raw going for on that?
Sure, let's find out together.
Yeah, Marty wants to know if he's got a flip or not.
Yeah, it's about time, man. I got to pay some bills, brother.
6 months.
There you go.
6 months.
You
Okay.
went heavy on the Chinese food tonight.
So you're looking at a raw for $3,000.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's pretty good.
Wow. Yes.
And then
There
are a ton of variants.
Time to auction, brother.
Yeah, I think Lando, you've got this one on your back wall. I've got this one too.
Yes, sir.
I had that one as well. What's
this
that one
popped
going
up
for?
to 112. I mean, that's pretty substantial because I think I picked this up for $10.
Yeah,
but it's $112 now.
Here, I had the Ultimate Fallout, the regular cover right there. I had like 5 5 copies of those.
Oh no.
And I ended up giving them away to some friends of mine and then keeping like 2 of them.
Oh
you know?
my.
I
What a-
yeah.
I
What
think
what a good friend you are.
sweet spot to sell for Ultimate Fallout number 4, if you really want to get your return and maximize your equity, it's going to be probably in August, September. So
Yeah.
if you've got that book, hold on to it just for a little bit longer, and yeah, you're going to get some good stuff.
We all need friends like Marty though, because that's very
I'm your
generous.
friend. Reef C Forever says, I'm your friend.
Yeah, man.
I'm sorry, man. I ain't got any more copies to give away, brother.
Yeah.
If I did, I'd send it your way. But
The
Look at
thought
this.
is what counts. The thought counts. So
that
thank
all
Yeah.
that counts, man.
Is this the first Patty Walker Hellcat or
Yeah,
just
it-
Cat?
Cat.
I think isn't Hellcat and Cat, is that the same character?
No, well, she ends up.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is an interesting sale though. You see something like this and it's sold for almost $3,000 on April 1st. It might as well be a Ninjak number 1. Nothing, huh, Orlando? Ninjak number. Okay, fine.
No. Oh, I caught it now. The Ninjak. Yeah.
Ooh,
Who came up
yeah,
with
that's
that?
nice.
Great idea. Great
I don't know
idea.
what I'm talking about.
That's a sick Ninja Turtle cover right there,
Yeah,
man.
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Dude, that cover. There's one guy who's here in the chat tonight. It's Hyper Combo Comics, and I know he has that copy. It is stunning, man. Stunning, and
Man, I
they've
love the green. I love green. The use of green on that, man.
dude, they've made statues of that which look equally as stunning, man. It's so cool.
Really?
Look at this wacky old Batman with Joker as a genie. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the Neil Adams, one of the greatest Batman covers of all times. Is absolutely gorgeous. Number 227. Let's see what else we got. This is first appearance of Orion, New God.
Yep.
So I wonder why that's popping. I wonder if there's something going on in the DCU that we don't know about. Again, this has been consistent last couple of years. Well, for the last year that I've been on the show, we keep on seeing first appearances of a version of Ghost Rider popping and getting higher and higher and higher in price. I'm telling you, there's something going on with Ghost Rider. I don't know what it is, but it's getting a lot of attention.
Oh, dude, I love that Jason Poland.
Absolutely, yeah. Both of his Spider-Man covers are really popping and really hot right now. This one is the rare of the two, and $1,500 for a near mint raw. That's crazy.
Yeah, not shabby. Of course.
Look at this. Haunted Thrills, 1954. Let's make this one bigger.
By the way, Chris, what was your question before about Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My apologies. Yeah, no, because I see Chavez brought up the point that yes, it is Patsy Walker as Hellcat.
Yep. We got Superman and the Masters of the Universe. I think this is the first crossover. This may be the first. This might be the first He-Man appearance in a regular comic. I think I got to click on it and find out. Let's see here.
Yes, you are right, brother.
All right, yeah. First appearance of He-Man and Skeletor in DC Comics. Now, I will tell you, though, that there are some pretty rare mini comics out there, including first Bruce Timm comic was one of those mini Masters of the Universe comics. So that's always something to keep an eye out for as well. Let's see here. Here you go. Ultimate Fallout CGC 9.8 for $1,000. That's the regular one. This is interesting.
I'll go back up. Keep an eye on that one.
So this is obviously the true first appearance of Wolverine. Don't at me.
I actually sold my copy of 180, man.
Yeah.
But a lot cheaper than that back in the day, man.
Oh, look, I got this one. Mine's in a CGC 5.
Oh, nice.
Yo, that Nintendo Power though.
Yeah. Nintendo Power number 47. This is first print Scooby-Doo in comics right here.
Oh.
I've got one. Mine's a ugly green label CGC though, unfortunately, because mine's missing a few pages. Let's look at this Nintendo Power. 9.8. There you go. That's why it sold for so much.
Love it.
Yep.
Star Fox, dude, was my jam. I played this game so much. I don't know if you guys saw on the Nintendo Switch, they actually have Star Fox 2, which never got released, which is pretty cool because, yeah, the fact it never got released, you had the opportunity to play that.
Do a barrel roll.
Yep.
We got, Swamp Thing #1. This is not the first appearance of Swamp Thing, but it is the first of his regular series by Bernie Wrightson. I happen to have 2 of these. I think I'll be putting them on the market here pretty soon. Mine are 8s, I think, not 9.6.
Really?
Yeah.
Swamp Thing.
But I mean, a fine raw sold for 116. I was lucky enough to get 2 of these in a Goodwill auction.
That's wicked.
Pretty crazy.
Did you said you got them back, right?
Yes, I did. They came back as 8s, so looks like I can get about $300 for them.
Not bad.
I'm putting them up right now. I'm probably gonna put them up.
Not bad. Good for you.
Let's see here. Elongated man.
Yeah.
Here's that weird Magic Eye Studios cover for the Ultra Heroes.
Yeah. Look at that coin that it goes for, though. It's very impressive, dude.
Let's see. We got Pep Comics. That's interesting. Here's a 2.0. CGC 2.0 sold for $730. All right. So let's go back up to the top. And we're going to look at a filter. This is one of the great things about Cover Price. I'm going to filter for all-time high sales. And you know what? I only want to see modern books. That's all I want to see. I want to see all-time high sales, modern books. That's all I want to see. So here we go.
Oh my God, Nintendo Power is everywhere.
Nintendo Power. Look at that.
Right.
Chico Suave, I did see that Superman trailer. The movie looks stunning, dude. Like, I can't wait for that.
Look at this. Would you pass up Noble Causes #3? I know I would.
Yeah, I would go right over that in $1.
But hey, 9.8 and this sold for $400.
Wow.
I have no idea why. It's probably a first appearance of something, but it is. Let's see here. It says first appearance of. Oh my God, this is the first appearance of Invincible.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. So who knew, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But wasn't this in a preview or something?
I don't know. It just says first appearance of Invincible. There is here, let me show this tab here. There's also this variant cover, which has got Invincible down here in the lower right-hand corner.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I don't think I would ever have recognized that as the first appearance of Invincible. And yeah, okay, fine. It's a preview, but who cares, right? This is first appearance of Cassandra Nova. Is in this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible cover, in my personal opinion. But very important.
I remember we talked about that with Tim many times when it would come on. Go up real quick. Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful one to David Nakayama. Yo, man, that is gorgeous. Look at that.
More
the use of
Nintendo
black.
Power.
I'm loving all the Nintendo Powers. I have got like 5 of those Power Rangers. Tomb Raider books, something I'm looking to continue to collect and complete runs of. Man, there's amazing books. Dude,
That's a beautiful cover, man.
That Street Fighter, yo.
Buy any more from
No,
Power
the Tomb Raider one?
Yeah.
So
Dude,
I've got a couple #1s. This isn't the regular one though. This is not the first appearance of the Power Rangers. I don't know why #2 popped on this, but I think it's just because it's 9.8. Because you can still pick this up as a raw for under $10.
Yep.
Well, that's interesting. Look at that.
Ivan Tao, man. Love
Yeah.
it.
J.
Oh
Scott
my
Campbell.
God, look at that Boba Fett, man. Star Wars war. Oh man, look at that variant right there.
Miko
That's going
Suya.
for about $100.
Some great
All right.
books, man.
Well, there you go. Cover Price is the sponsor of this show. You too can get a subscription for less than $6 a month, cheaper than a McRib, yeah, as Tim used to say. It's definitely something to do, because if you are like me and have thousands and thousands and thousands of comics, you want to know what's popping in your collection so that you can go flip it and buy more comics. This is a great resource. So highly encourage everybody to go do that. And yeah, man, go sign up. You can get a free trial for like a week. Try it out. If you don't like it, ask for your free money back, and you'll get your free money back immediately.
There you have it, man. Way to plug it, Chris. Appreciate you. But Chris is now running on 1% battery, you guys, so we don't want to keep him too long. But I'm happy I got to take most of you into the O for Abyss tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. But before we say goodbye, let's go round the horn. And of course, Chris, kick it off.
I got Awesome Con this weekend. It's going to be a lot of walking in the DC area, but it's going to be a good time. Why don't you guys follow me over on Instagram? I like to take pictures at Awesome Con, all the cool stuff. You can see all the cool costumes, and you can see all of the cool books and stuff that I pick up. I'll be doing that actively live. You guys can follow along if you follow me on Instagram, which is at Dr. Yo-Yo.
There you go. Marty, take us home, bro.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for joining us. Guys in the chat were wonderful tonight. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Thank you for the super chats as well. Thank you, JSS and Alex. You guys I really appreciate you guys in the chat. Just really everybody out there and engaging with each other. And once again, happy birthday, Luis Mendoza. Right? Hope you have a great, happy birthday, brother. And you guys, panel members, always a fun time. Anytime I get to hang out with my brothers and talk nothing but comics, right?
Hell yeah, man.
It's interesting. It's just, a lot of the times too, a lot of these books I've never seen or never would even think of, but just to be on here and seeing this and learning just as much as you guys are. So I'm having fun doing this.
Yep.
May the comic gods and the spirit of our friend TiVo continue to bless your guys' long boxes, and may the comic gods rain you with silver, gold, bronze, and moderns and coppers and all that good stuff.
Keep digging, folks. Keep digging.
Keep digging.
Keep digging. Guys, you heard it from them. Please don't forget, hit the subscribe, the like, comment below, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Marty, you ready for that top 10? I'm feeling ready. I'm feeling ready. I could already imagine what's going to be on the list. So
Absolutely, man.
yeah, we'll see you guys then, man. Have yourselves a great weekend. Adios.
For the entire crew, this is T-Bo saying keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.